Hi, this is Emily with RE/MAX Universal, and as a real estate agent, I frequently get asked questions about the housing market, which then morph into questions about the economy and the world and all kinds of things. I don't pretend to be an economist, but I just want to talk about what I see here and now. So a lot of people have expressed that they're worried about everything in flux. They don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. The world's going to pieces, all kinds of dramatic interpretations of what's going on. Here's what I'd like to point out. At a point in the past, there were wars going on in Lebanon and in the Falklands. The whole world had a recession going on. The U.S. had a manufacturing crisis with 11% unemployment, and there were very high interest rates. This was in 1982, which has come and gone long in the past, and people at that point could have been worried about things being in flux, or they could have got on with their life. The choice is everyone's to make. Question: do recessions affect the housing market or not? I'll give you a story. In 2020, someone told me that they couldn't possibly buy a house because they knew for sure that in 2021, the housing market was going to crash. I believe that this was an excuse. They were letting fear of the unknown take hold of them to such an extent that they couldn't make any kind of decision at all. What really happened in 2021? Well, we know that the housing market took off. It did not crash. Here is a chart that shows historic recessions along with home prices. A lot of people associate recessions with dropping home prices, but the only time that happened was right here in 2008. All these other previous recessions, and even after that, in 2020, house prices did not drop. They just gradually, steadily rose. If you take out this blip here and draw the line just straight across like that, you can see that even then, house prices recovered and they had a steady upward trajectory. So watching the interest rates can be interesting, but I don't think that they have much to do with the home prices. In the 60s, they were very low and houses were appreciating slowly but surely. By 1971, the interest rate had risen to 7.5%. By 1975, it was 9%. By 1982, it was 18%, but it did modulate a little towards the end of that year. In 1992, the interest rate was 18.4%, and in 2005, it was 5.9%. So again, looking at that, you can see that these interest rate changes didn't make a whole lot of difference in the housing prices. Housing prices just gradually went up regardless of recessions or interest rates. So the question, well, do they affect the housing market at all? Do they affect it or not? Well, back in 2021, according to news that I had read, some people were waiting to buy a house until the interest rates dropped. This was when interest rates were around 3%. We will never see that kind of rate again in our lifetimes. But they were waiting for them to get even lower. Some people believe that they're going to wait for the rates to get high enough that that's going to force housing prices to drop. And they're going to wait till the house prices go down. We'll see if this is based on fact in a minute. And my conclusion is there's always going to be something wrong with the market for anybody who is so fearful of making a move that they are not qualified. In real estate terms, a qualified buyer is ready, willing, and able. And someone who is afraid to make a move because of whatever reason, they're not willing, so they're not qualified, they're not ready. So, case study in 2021. In this case, I would say that yes, the interest rates affected the housing market because they were so extremely low. There were lots of motivated buyers, and there was extreme competition for any kind of house out there that they could get. So in that case, yes, that bumped up the house prices higher than the normal slow appreciation rate. But rising rates don't mean dropping home prices, as people might imagine. Everyone knows this. Everyone remembers 2021 when rates were going down and house prices were going up. So they imagine that the opposite would be true, but it's really not, because over here there's a heavy collection of dots that shows that home prices went up when interest rates went up. So it's not a seesaw effect. In this quadrant here, this represents 2008 and 2009. There's quite a lot of dots here, and this was when interest rates and home prices were dropping together. Recession, extreme recession there. And here is the quadrant that people expect, but isn't hardly really true. Very few dots in here where interest rates went up and home prices dropped. So the conclusion of this is rising rates do not mean dropping home prices. Going on to our job climate. Wisconsin has a healthy job climate. We're number 8 in manufacturing jobs, only number 20 in population. Lots of jobs means lots of need for housing to house the workers. So it keeps our home prices stable. Our housing prices, although they're stable, and yes, they have gone up since 20 years ago, they're still very reasonable compared to most of the rest of the country. If you want to buy, this little top thing up here is for you. This is a screenshot I took from a report by the WRA in January 2026 that our housing affordability index has actually gone up. This is some things you should remember. Every year that you delay means a lost chance at building equity. The net worth of homeowners is 40 times that of renters according to Credit Karma. That's because when you have a paid off house, you are worth a lot more than someone who has just rented. Home prices did rise in Wisconsin, but not at an unsustainable bubble rate. I am very happy that they are not appreciating as fast as they did in 2021. Right now, in 2026, some sellers are getting over asking and some sellers are getting under asking. It's all in how they decide to price the property. And if you want to sell and you're worried about interest rates, markets, instability in the world, or whatever, just know this: in Wisconsin, almost 40% of homeowners are mortgage free. So if that's you, you don't have much to worry about. Another almost 50% are equity rich. That includes the mortgage free. So again, if you have a lot of equity, you don't have much to worry about. And we are number 13 in high equity owners. That means we're pretty healthy in terms of our home ownership and how much people owe on the homes when we're a number 13. So buying or selling, to conclude, you don't want to make decisions just based on interest rates or freaky news headlines for that matter. When you do decide to buy or sell, know that seasons matter a bit because Wisconsin is a seasonal state, and you want to base your decisions on what makes sense for you, not on what someone else is telling you. Have a great day.
And that's it for now. This is Emily Matthews here to help you with all your real estate needs. Don't forget to subscribe. It's the little icon with my head on it. Have a wonderful day.